Yo, what's going on? Chavo Guerrero Jr. here, giving a big shout out to Wrestling Rehab. Keep watching, keep listening, and viva la raza.
Órale. Órale. Cholo Trucker Wrestling Rehab shouts to all the junkies out there. All right, man. Want to spend just a little bit of time talking about what happened on the premiere of Monday Night Raw on Netflix with the immortal one, Hulk Hogan. I recapped it a little bit with Big Bird. Shouts to Big Bird because he was there. Um, but I want to just focus on the Hulkster and what happened and him being booed out of there. And there's so much that's been going on since then, and a lot is being said, and hey, what's gonna happen? And I just kind of want to give my thoughts on this, man. And that is, for one, I was there. Okay, I was a kid. I was around when Hulkamania was running wild. I mean, I was there at its peak, man. When it really started picking up, when it really became a thing, when it was like it's changed everything on how what wrestling once was to what it became. He was there, it was him, and I saw it. The immortal Hulk Hogan, take your vitamins, say your prayers, super duper good guy, real life superhero, waving the American flag. Man, he was beloved. What was it? The 16-inch pythons, or I forgot, 24-inch pythons or something. I forgot. But man, Hulk Hogan comes out to promote his beer. Okay. Until this day, I have not really. I do like to have a beer here and there, man. I'm not really too much of an IPA guy. Um, I haven't tried Stone Cold's beer. I haven't tried any other beers. Now, it's because you make a beer it doesn't make me want to go out and get your beer and now let me try it. I just me myself personally, I don't really roll like that. It's just like, hey man, do you got a Dos Equis? Cool. Give me a Dos Equis. If it comes to American beer, I like me a Coors Light. But I mean, I guess there's some people out there that just like to try different beers all the time. That's not me, but nonetheless, look, if one of his beers is around, lying around, and somebody offers me one of his beers, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead, I'll try it, I guess. But they had him come out with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, waving Old Glory behind him. And when he first came out, when his music hit, I am a real American, which, good gosh, man, when you bump that jam, I still truck it down the highway, bumping that jam every now and then. When I'm feeling tired or something, when, the open road gets very lonely and it's dark, and I'm like, man, I'm starting to, struggle to stay awake. I'm like, man, I'm feeling a little tired. I'm a little low on energy, man. I could bump that jam, and damn, that jam just gets the blood flowing. So when that song hit, man, there was a spark there. You could see it, you could feel it through the television, and it was right here in my backyard too. I just didn't go. Tickets were pretty high, and I was like, nah, man, I better be on the road and make money, man. I am heading to WrestleMania, both night one and two. But his music hit. I was like, okay, nice. Hulkster comes out. The mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, is waving Old Glory. stars and stripes behind, making it look like it's 1988. Hulk Hogan coming out. He does get a pop. He does get a good reaction when the music hits. Fast forward, maybe 15 seconds, maybe less, 10 seconds. Once he's out there, turned into a lot of booze, man. A lot of booze. And I know he's already came out and he already has said that, hey, you know what? At least there was a reaction. And to a certain degree, that's true. However, when you're going out there as a baby face with the American flag, with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, and you get booed, you're not getting the reaction that you're trying to receive. Now, I get what he said. I get what he said. Hey, it was kind of like Roman Reigns. Remember when Roman Reigns was a baby face? I mean, he's somewhat of a baby face now, but remember when Roman Reigns, before he turned heel, before he had the wise man, before he had started the bloodline, man, they were really trying to turn him baby face, right? And everybody would just boo him. Man, they would just boo the heck out of him. They were trying to make him the guy. And he just get booed over and over and over and over again. And I remember seeing him in one of his interviews, and he said, like, hey, I'm getting a reaction though. And I understand that point. I do understand. It's like, hey, when nobody reacts, when they don't cheer, when they don't boo, that's when you really got to worry. I understand that. And that is true. When you're, Apollo Crews, which is unfortunate because Apollo Crews can throw down in the ring. I am a fan of his. He's a good wrestler. He just really couldn't get over. Nobody's really cheering. Nobody's really booing. You're just kind of there. It's kind of a restroom break. It's kind of a, let me go to concession stands whenever you're there in the ring, cutting a promo or actually performing. So I do understand the whole, hey, as long as you give a reaction. However, when sticking with Roman Reigns, when they were trying to push him as babyface, right? When he turned heel, now you're controlling. Now you're in charge. Now you take control back. So when the Hulkster comes out, and I know we're already, 2 Monday Night Raws in, but when the Hulkster comes out, you're expecting people to cheer. You're expecting, him to be the baby face. There's gonna be, the 1980s. He's waving the American flag, and you get booed. I mean, heck, he looked confused. He looked confused. Now, me myself, when I was a kid, I was a Hulkamaniac. I was. He meant that much to the business. He really did. He was the guy. I'm not sure there'll ever be anybody as big as Hulk Hogan was. See, here's the thing. Hogan put himself in the spotlight outside of the ring. You guys know the whole, what's up, B40? You guys know the whole saying, hey, don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. Like I said, I was a kid in the 80s. I remember all of this. I was a Hulkamaniac. And then I became a huge fan of the Ultimate Warrior. But there's that, hey, don't meet your hero. But I remember like the movie No Holds Barred with Zeus. Then he made some stupid movies like that Nanny one. There was a couple of other good movies. I enjoyed the Thunder in Paradise movie with Giant Gonzalez. But nonetheless, Hogan kept himself in the spotlight. He started that reality show, Hogan Knows Best. There's the whole, when he went to WCW and reinvented himself and became Hollywood Hogan, being a heel, keeping himself relevant for the business while being in the business. That was great. The whole NWO, and then the NWO became somewhat of a joke because they had started allowing everybody in there. And then things, started going back and forth. Him and Vince Russo, and oh, he feels entitled, and once you start pulling back the curtain, and when he kept putting himself in the spotlight outside of the ring, that's when a lot of these things started coming out, right? His family, his daughter, his son, his wife. You start seeing their characters. And it's like, dog, like, your wife is something else, man. His son, Nick Hogan. I know that's Hogan's not his real last name. Terry Boella. But Boella? However the heck you pronounce Hogan's last name, right? Hogan Boella. Look, I got no problem believing that Hulk Hogan, or Terry, I should say, is a complete jerk, Holmes. I got no problem believing that because I think he is. I think he feels so entitled. There's a lot of people that don't have good things to say about him. So I got no issues thinking that he's a complete jackass, right? He snitched on Jesse the Body Ventura when Jesse the Body Ventura was trying to get the wrestlers together to unionize. Because at that time, in those days, man, those dudes, a lot of guys, they didn't live a long life. When you think about wrestlers in the 80s and 90s, dog, a lot of those dudes, man, 50 years old is extremely old. And a lot of those guys didn't even make it to that age. So he was trying to unionize. And Hogan said, like, nah, ain't going to happen. I want to be Vince's boy. So he goes and snitches on him. Look, I got no problem believing that Terry is a complete douchebag. He comes off that way. He seems like he's entitled. He knows he's all that because he really was. However, Hulk Hogan, the character, I don't think there'd be anybody. I don't think there's anybody that's been bigger than Hulk Hogan. There's been some that have came close, right? Like Stone Cold. Although JBL made something, he made a good point. JBL, I was watching him on on a podcast. I forgot which one, but he said something interesting, and he said, "Hey, listen, not to take anything away from Stone Cold, but it was an era where you could get away with a lot. That's why JBL gives so much kudos to John Cena because John Cena had to get over after the Attitude Era when it went like PG, right? In the Attitude Era, I mean, it was straight out rated R. Blood and penny and bra matches, and just you could get away with a lot. Drinking beers, middle fingers. I thought, huh, that's a little interesting. Hogan talked crap about my boy Ultimate Warrior. I loved Ultimate Warrior, man. Once Ultimate Warrior came around, I became more of a Warrior fan. And look, man, look, Hogan, yeah, man, backstage, we already know. Look, we already know. If you're extremely over and you bring money to the business, you could get away with a lot. You could get away with a lot. When Bret Hart, when he was the guy, and Vince said, "Hey, we're not going to show any blood," Bret Hart told Stone Cold, "Hey, I'm going to get you over. We're going to make you bleed." Stone Cold was fresh into the business. Stone Cold said to himself, he's all like, really? Like, well, I mean, I don't want to get fired. And Bret Hart told him, "Don't trip. I got it." Meaning Bret Hart can take those bullets. Bret Hart can do it because at that time, Bret Hart had a lot more weight to throw around in the business than Stone Cold. And Hulk Hogan back in the locker room, dog, you cannot find too many people, man, that have great things to say about him. So, he comes out with the reality show. His kid freaking gets into an accident, and his friend is like, I don't know, man. He's like paralyzed for the rest of his life, or eating through a straw for the rest of his life, or something like that. Um, Hogan gets him all the lawyers in the world. His the mom, Hogan's wife, ex-wife now, she's hysterical. She's like whacked out of her head, man, talking about how miserable it is for her, and like even with the dogs. I remember like the neighbors were complaining about the little dogs, so they had to have the dogs in another house, and she's breaking down crying and how miserable her life is. And Hogan coming out with Hogan again putting himself in the spotlight outside of the ring and showing so many flaws, Holmes. And that's not to say like, oh man, you know what, we're all perfect, man, we're all perfect, let's just judge Hogan. No, that's not to say that. It's, look, Hogan, look, man, do you not remember what you meant? Do you not remember you were the real life superhero to so many kids? For you to be out here in a freaking porn video smashing your homeboy's wife, for you to your kid over there getting in a car accident, and your wife freaking out, and you put them all on blast. You put them all on a reality show, so now everybody could follow them. For you to be being recorded. Now maybe he didn't know he was being recorded over there using the N word. Like, Hogan, big dog, you were a real life superhero, man. You were like the first. I'm not just talking about wrestling. I'm talking about in life. I can't think. I can't think of anybody else in anything that was like a real life superhero. I'm trying to think right now, honestly, on the top of my head, of like who was like a actual like super life. I'm sorry, real life superhero in the flesh, right? Like everything was cartoon. Everything was, you know, uh, uh, Lou Ferrigno as the Incredible Hulk. But again, nobody knew Lou Ferrigno. They just knew the Incredible Hulk, right? Like it's not like you see Lou Ferrigno, you go see him, and it's like, hey, look, it's Hulk. Hulk Hogan was that guy. And you put yourself on blast for all these things to go on and on and on and on and on. Now, let me get to what a lot of people are talking about. Okay, he endorsed Donald Trump for presidency. Okay, all right. Now, he was at the convention. He did endorse him. He did do the whole, ripping the T-shirt and it's for Trump and all that stuff, right? And it's like, well, wait a second. Didn't the Undertaker endorse him? Yeah. All right. There's a few differences here, though. One is, I mean, as a matter of fact, Undertaker even had Donald Trump on his podcast. Um, shoot, 6 feet under or something like that. I haven't seen it in a minute or two, but I do enjoy the podcast. However, I'm not sure how many people are actually watching Undertaker's podcast every episode to know what's up, right? And second of all, Undertaker came out as the American badass in his motorcycle. I think I heard Eric Bischoff say this. He came out in his motorcycle. He didn't stand there with a mic. He came out in the motorcycle, rode around the ring, put the fist up with Mommy, Rhea Ripley, and then rode off. So could it be because he endorsed Donald Trump? I don't know. Maybe. A lot of people are saying like, "Well, yeah, of course, that's what it is, man." And look where he was at in L.A. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, Holmes. Again, this is my backyard, man. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do believe if Hogan was in another city, maybe he would have got a little bit of a different reaction. Maybe. But all the BS, man, everything that has gone on with Hogan, the recordings of using the N word not once but twice, a lot of the stuff, man, that's gone on with him. It's like, all right, damn, you were like this superhero to all of us when we were kids. And, to me personally, I'll tell you guys where I stand at the end, but, uh, you know, and now it just seems like people don't really want anything to do with them because of all the shenanigans. The whole endorsing Trump, I mean, I'm not even really sure if that was too big of a deal. I'm sure some people do care. Some people that are like, really into politics or whatever, man. And had it been somewhere else, yeah, maybe he would have got a little bit of a different reaction. But I think for the most part, I don't think he would have got the big, you know, 1987 pop when Hogan's coming out. Now, here's the thing for me personally, on a personal level, there's just me, myself, and I. Okay. Personally, do I care um, that Hogan has had so many shenanigans outside of the ring for me to boo the Hulkster? No, no. To me, like I said, I can separate the two, right? Like I said earlier, I got no problem believing that Terry Boella, or however the heck you pronounce his last name, that he's a complete jackass, Holmes. I got no problem believing that. And then I can go ahead and say Hulk Hogan is one of the greatest, if not the greatest ever. Characters, of course. So if I were there, I would have cheered. It's the Hulkster, man. It's the immortal one. It's Hulk Hogan. You know, my favorite wrestler of all time is and probably always will be Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, I've heard it from quite a few different people that Bret, he's not the funnest guy to be around. He's not the coolest guy to go hang out with. He's not the funnest guy, to hang around. Again, going back to the whole thing. Hey, never meet your heroes. And I'm like, damn. Like it sucks hearing that. But at the same time, it's like, well, you know, we're not buddies. We're not friends. It's my favorite wrestler. So the whole thing about Hogan getting booed and everything, I actually started feeling bad for the guy. I did. I was just like, this sucks, man. They're booing the heck out of him. Like you're booing Hulk Hogan. Like I look personally, I didn't like it when he came out. Yes, I watched it on television, so it's not the same. But I was cheering. I was just like, yeah, heck yeah, the Hulkster's out there. But I hope this is a little bit of a learning lesson for everybody that's in the business to be like, hey, if you're gonna be a jackass, man, you may not want to be putting the spotlight on you because he put the spotlight on himself. He put the spotlight on himself. He wanted the reality show. He wanted cameras on him. He wanted to stay relevant. And then out comes the sex tape. Out comes, his wife or ex-wife now, who's acting like a complete jackass. The one who's over there, worried about her son that got his friend, all jacked up in the car accident. Out comes Hogan with the two recordings of using the N word. Out, just like all this stuff. It's like, dog, guy, stop putting the spotlight on you, man. You are wrestling royalty, but you're damaging your image, man. And Ric Flair's not too far behind. Now, again, for me personally, myself, just me, man, that's cool, man. Hogan comes out, I'm gonna cheer. I will cheer. Why? Because he's the immortal Hulk Hogan to me. Terry, I don't know Terry. I heard he's a douchebag. That's cool. He could beat Terry when he's not in the arena. Go beat Terry over there. But when he's the immortal Hulk Hogan, okay, you're the immortal Hulk Hogan. That's what I'm rooting for. So, um, thoughts were that you know what, Triple H may not have Hogan back. I'll get to you guys' chats in a second, man. Um, Thoughts were that Triple H is not going to have Hogan back or whatever. No, he's actually doing the promos, man. He's actually in the commercials for Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't think he's going to be at Saturday Night's Main Event. And you know what? If for whatever reason, if for whatever reason Hogan wants to keep on putting the spotlight on him, look, because in reality, Hogan, if this is the shenanigans you're going to be in, homie, look, really keep the spotlight off of you, man, and just make appearances at WrestleMania. Had you done that, then this probably wouldn't happen because people can't really they can't really separate these things. I cheer for the Hulkster. I don't know Terry, whatever, man. I cheer for Hulk Hogan. But all that being said, if Hogan now knowing this, and shout out to Big Bird, I had him on. He brought this idea. Hey, you know what? If you want to be going out there for whatever reason, go out there as Hollywood Hogan, man. Go out there as the heel. When he faced The Rock at WrestleMania, what WrestleMania was that? Was it WrestleMania 18? I forgot what WrestleMania was. Hogan was supposed to be the heel. The Rock was the babyface. Oh, when they met up in that ring, oh, it turned around. People were booing The Rock. They went back to Hogan being the babyface, even though Hogan, and leading up to that match, Hogan was the heel. But when they both got in that ring, it was clear to see in that arena that they were cheering for the immortal one. All right, let me see what you guys are saying, man. Damn. All right, let me see. Uh, shows. It's all these rest. It says beta males. Now 34-year-old man wearing replica belts. Man, I've never had an actual replica belt, man. Hogan will always be an icon, John Public and Gen X. Booing all these weirdo fans. They will never change. It's WWE without Hogan. Hogan was, hey man, Hogan is the biggest, greatest character, man. People that did not know wrestling know who Hulk Hogan is. You get it? To be alive during Hulkamania. And that's what I'm saying, B40. That's what I'm saying. If you weren't around at that time, and I'm talking about it's not like, if you were like a little baby at that time. No, you had to be a kid. You had to be, or not just a kid, but you had to know what was going on. To say, like, I saw it. I saw Hulkamania, and that sucker ran wild, man. It changed the industry of wrestling until he went Hollywood. Talked crap about. Yeah, I was a big Warrior fan. LA is the wrong venue for Hulk Hogan. Scorch, I remember he was claiming to be from Los Angeles, like Venice and stuff. Biggest mistake was becoming friends with Bubba the Love Sponge. Oh man. Yeah. Ever befriended Bubba, he wouldn't have half the amount of hate as today. Yeah, probably, man. Don't the hitman hear you say this. Hello. Hey, look, I'm just saying, man. I've heard it pretty often. Bret the Hitman Hart will forever be my favorite wrestler. Will forever be my favorite wrestler. I just hear, man, that he's not, he's not the funnest guy to be around. Like he's a little bit, he's a little bit too serious, a little bit entitled, a little bit, and I'm just like, all right, that's cool. Whatever, man. Like I said, we're not gonna go out and play miniature golf any day. So it's just, but he'll forever be my favorite wrestler, man. I know Hulk comes with a lot of baggage, but man, it's Hulk Hogan. I'm with you, Richard. And see, that's the thing, man. Like I'm not gonna boo Hulk Hogan. I know. Yeah, okay, so outside of the ring, Terry, whoever the heck he is, hey, that's who he is. And he's shown a lot of who he is because he wants to remain in the spotlight. He keeps putting himself in the spotlight. And I don't know. People just want to judge him on that, whatever it may be, man. But as far as the Hulkster, I mean, gosh, it's Hulk Hogan, man. It's pronounced Bolea. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that last name before. Terry Bolea. Uh, Put it S in front of the. I'm not even gonna respond to that, S Benny. I'm not gonna respond to that. Bret Hart is very bitter about the way his career ended. He still trashes Bill Goldberg at every opportunity. Yeah, yeah, I know, man. I know. And Goldberg has, he's apologized profusely. And I remember Goldberg saying that he's done apologizing. He's not apologizing anymore. Poor Jimmy Hart. I know, man. One of the greatest of all time. The mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, man. One of the greatest managers ever. He's back there waving the stars and stripes, man, just getting booed. Who knew you would backlash him supporting Trump? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if that's even really what it is. I'm sure for some people it is. I'm sure for some people that's what it is. Back in the day, Brett, I used to see he was all business, not a bad guy, but you just stay away. Okay, Rich. All right. Hulk Hogan was a failed action star. One show actor. Look at that time though, Scorch. At that time, you can enjoy those movies, right? Like if you want to sit down and be serious with a movie like No Holds Barred or Thunder in Paradise, and somebody wasn't around at that time, yeah, they're probably gonna laugh at the movie and say like, "What the heck is this? Like, this is stupid." Right? Like just have Zeus out there with a Z on his head, just just and then people are just gonna be like, this is dumb, right? But because I was around in that era, dog, I can appreciate the heck out of those movies. I still think those movies are badass, man. As a matter of fact, I got the DVD of No Holds Barred, man. But I do understand if you were to show that movie to somebody today who's 25 years old or something, they're gonna be like, "This is dumb," right? So I do understand it. So he's playing a character. Ultimate Warrior said Hulk Hogan entire life is a work. Yeah, could be. Could be. He probably, maybe he's got the same problem that Ric Flair has, man, and that is without Rick. I said this before about Ric Flair, and that is Ric Flair without being the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I'm not sure he even knows who he is, man. Which is why he wants to just keep on. He wants to have another match. The dude's what 75 years old. He just had not too long ago, what like a year ago, 2 years ago, he had some sort of medical issue that was really serious. Don't come out here at all. Yeah, I would say this, man. Just just have Hulkster do what the Hulkster's doing for Saturday night's main event, right? You don't need to have him come out. If you already got this reaction, the only way it's gonna work is if you have Hollywood Hogan come out, because you're probably not gonna get the cheers. Hogan, I would lean into this. Hey, I'm with you, Richard. Isn't that what the business is about? That's what the business is about, right? So, I mean, that's what happened with The Rock. When The Rock last year was going to go up against Roman Reigns, and then as he put it, the Cody Crybabies came out, they started booing the match. What did The Rock do? He turned heel. He became the final boss. At this point, Hogan doesn't care what people think of him. He was awarded 140. Wow. Gawker. Yeah. Ah. Hey, I mean, look, if one of those beers is around, I'll go ahead, I'll try it. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it. Hogan's father was Italian, hence his name, Bolea. Randy Savage, dad was also Italian, Hopeful. Hey man, Randy Savage. Ah, what a true athlete, man. That dude was a baseball player before he became the Macho Man. Come on, no holds bar. Who can forget Dookie? I still love it. I still love it. I love it, man. I love it. Right. But you had to be there to appreciate it. You know, you had to be in that era to really appreciate those things. If you go back today and you watch wrestling from, 1988, 1989, and it's I don't know if you can really appreciate. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys that can really wrestle. Like if you're gonna watch a Hulk Hogan match, from when he's facing Earthquake or something, and you're trying to show it to a 15-year-old, they're probably not gonna be that impressed. Like, dude, like this is dumb. Like, what the heck is this? Right? Like you had to be there. You had to be in that era. You had to be in the mix, watching it. Same goes for his movies. Thunder in Paradise. I really enjoyed Thunder in Paradise, man, with the boat and them going out to find the jewelry, and Giant Gonzalez. He's over there fighting Giant Gonzalez on the ship. Hey, man. But see, I was around at that time to appreciate it. So anyway, man, just want to come on here and give those thoughts on the Hulkster. And yeah, I look, I'm gonna cheer him. I'm gonna cheer the Immortal One, Hulk Hogan. Terry, whatever. I don't know the dude. I don't care. Everything that he's shown outside of the ring, yeah, dog. Everything leans to him being a jackass. Leans to him being a douchebag. And what people have said about Hulk Hogan backstage on how much he threw his weight around, yeah, I got no problem believing the guy's a straight douchebag. But I'm rooting for Hulk Hogan. I'm cheering Hulk Hogan, not Terry. So, all right, man. Let me see. I think that Dino Bravo was underappreciated heel. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Dino Bravo, man, he was alongside with Earthquake, and Dino Bravo was on the wrong side of the law, getting himself into some things that he shouldn't have gotten himself into, and that, oh man, yeah, Dino Bravo was good, man. Remember when Mr. Perfect broke Hulk's championship? Oh man, see now we're going back. All right, all right. Okay, you know what? All right, I'll be on here next week just to talk some old school wrestling. Oh man, I want to talk some old school wrestling. Let's talk some old school wrestling, man. I didn't know I had a bunch of old farts on here that are just remembering back in the days, man. So all right, let's next week, next either Thursday or Wednesday. I don't know. I'll put it up. We'll just come on here and just talk some old school wrestling, man. 80s, 90s, anything before the Attitude Era. And then maybe one day we'll talk about the Attitude Era. But I want to talk about the Hogans, the Warriors, the Macho Mans, B. John Studd, the Coco Bewares, Tito Santana's, the Rockers, Demolition, Powers of Pain, Mr. Fuji, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon. Let's talk some old school wrestling, man. I'm down, Mr. Perfect. All them, man. All them. I'm down with this, dog. All right. I'm gonna get out of here for now. Let me see. All right. I'm gonna check up out of here for now, man. Shout outs to you guys, but that's my thoughts on Hogan. Will you guys still cheer for him? Won't you? I mean, who he is out of the ring, does that affect who he is in the ring for you guys? It doesn't for me. I'm not rooting for Terry. I'm rooting for the Hulkster, man. Total Trucker Wrestling Rehab. Shout out to all the junkies. Catch you guys on next one.